Damn. Here we go again. Welcome back to the channel. I don't even know why I'm smiling. I'm not actually in a good mood, but it's always a barrel of laughs with my brother Fuad. Another episode of the THFC Show. What you saying, bro? You good?
Hey man, as good as can be is what I'll say. You know what I mean? As we always say, listen, this show is almost like therapy for us at this point. Do you know what I mean? But
Mm.
coming a little bit fresh after that result last night, I'm sure we'll tuck into that and a few more things that have happened over the last week or so because it's been
Mm.
such a fucking calamitous week. But listen, people get involved. Make sure you're, you know what I mean, throwing your chats in, send your questions in, send your
Yeah,
thoughts in as well. You know what I mean? Get involved in the conversation.
100%, man. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. We're going to be talking about Conte, Kane, Richarlison, Wolves, Milan, Romero, right? And some big names, big, medium, small names being linked with the Spurs job. So we're going to be talking about all of that. And then also before we start this as well, yeah, I've seen a clip that's been circulating around the of my
Can I just say, yeah, your stream last night, yeah, has to go down as one of the hands down the funniest head losses I've ever fucking seen. I
I
can't
wasn't
lie.
even trying to be I wasn't even trying to be funny, you know. I
Bro,
wasn't even trying to be funny.
that's what makes it funny, bro. You don't understand is I'm watching it as a fellow Spurs fan, and I swear to you, I think I tweeted you last night. I was like, yo, I needed this laugh. Literally, and because I could see how angry you were, I could see how honest you were being. But I was like, this shit is still funny. I can't lie. Hey, what Romero? Hey, who can punch him up? Please, let's go punch him up. I'm like, yo, this is
You know what, yeah. So I just want the people to know, yeah. I just want the people to know I do not condone violence. I actually don't want Romero to be battered and bruised. I don't want him to be punched up per se. I just want someone to speak to this brother. I just want someone to speak to this brother and have a word with Romero about a time and place and how not to be such a head loss merchant on the football pitch. That is
yeah.
all. But that's neither
We'll
near
get
or
into
there
it. We'll
anyway.
get into it when we get to it. But
But
yo,
we're gonna speak on Romero. But I just thought I had to put that out
hilarious,
there, man.
man.
I just had to put that out there because I literally the amount of people that have said, "Rah, like how can first?" All I was hearing is, "Nah, that's hilarious." To why would you want that on a player and stuff like that?
Yeah,
All I
and
was,
that's the thing, bro.
yeah,
Like, this is the thing. It's like with us, the type of content we do, we keep it as authentic, and I think that's why people kind of fuck with us. Do you know what I mean? And listen, people who fuck with us understand the kind of humor we're talking with. We say it on Twitter and shit, yo, da da da. But there's always that crowd where if they get a hold of it, they can twist that and turn it to whatever they like. So listen, you hear the message now, bruv. We don't condone violence. You know what I mean? We don't.
100%, 100%. Maybe a little cocoa on the head, but that's
Yeah.
that's about it. But listen, people, already there's almost 300 of you lot in here. Make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you're subscribed to both mine and Fuad's channel. This is a weekly show. Hit the subscribe button, turn your post notifications on. I see you hit 5K the other day as well. Big
Big
up
up.
to you. Next road 10K. So people smash the subscribe button on Fuad's channel. Click the link to his channel in the title description. And then if you're not subscribed on here, hit the subscribe button. And again, as I said, hit that like button. But I mean, where do we start? Because it's like I don't want to go all the way back to Wolves, right? I don't want to have to go all the way back to Wolves, considering what just happened yesterday. But I feel like it's appropriate that we talk about both because we can combine the two. Obviously, Spurs have been dumped out of the Champions League by AC Milan. We lost 1-0 in aggregate. To be honest, it could have been about 3 or 4-0 in aggregate.
Second half.
Um, and this is off the back of a 1-0 defeat to Wolves, right? 1-0 defeat to Wolves, which was off the back of a 1-0 defeat to Sheffield United, which now means Tottenham have failed to score in the last 3 matches. That's 270 minutes of football we have played, and we have not been able to score a goal against Sheffield United, Wolves, and AC Milan. How does that make you feel as a Spurs fan?
Bruv, rotten. It makes me feel rotten looking at this rotten club pretty much from top to bottom. I think someone just dropped that in the comments as well. couldn't have found a better way to sum it up. And you look at kind of the 3 defeats with Sheffield, Wolves, and AC Milan. 3 even different types of defeats you could look at. I would say Sheffield, we got completely outworked. Like, they had more desire, more hunger. They actually treated it like a cup game where there was elimination on the line. Whereas we kind of just thought, relax, we can maybe rotate the squad a little. Wolves, we should have taken the lead in the first half, in my opinion. We had 2 or 3 good chances. We hit the crossbar with a free kick as well, which surprised me. But I thought we could have taken the lead. Second half, we got taken to school tactically, in my opinion. I thought Lopetegui, you got to give him credit. Did a few tweaks at halftime, brought on Adama Traore, who, if anybody's been watching Wolves v Spurs, has been our kryptonite pretty much every time we've played them. But they absolutely schooled us in the second half. You saw the game. They went from, I think, having no shots in the first half to, by the end of the first half, they should have had 3 or 4, potentially. And then yesterday, similar thing. You're thinking, right, you've just been knocked out of the FA Cup. You've just taken a blow in the top 4 race, supposedly, in a game where you've been schooled, bossed, and outworked in the last 2 games. Now you have a Champions League game on the line against the Milan side that isn't great in form at the moment, that aren't really delivering on their performances this season. And in the first half really was kind of an even game between 2 fairly shit sides. But you turn up and once again, spineless, gutless, no cojones, call it what you want. But it just showed nothing. And from a managerial tactical aspect, the same thing that has been happening in the last couple of games. Reactive rather than proactive. Even when you make the subs, you're making ineffective subs. I'm sorry. Bringing on Lucas Moura and Richarlison every game isn't 2 Brazilians who do absolutely nothing in this team to try and come around, run around like busy bees. Ain't going to make the difference. While Danjuma, meanwhile, doesn't see a single minute in any of these games. What the fuck have we signed him in January for? So there's so many things at this club wrong from top to bottom. And every game, it just gets highlighted in a weird and different way. Whether it's us getting bumped for Richarlison, whether it's our manager being tactically stubborn, whether it's the same fucking weak backline that keeps consistently letting us down year after year. All of these things are just getting displayed. So as I tweeted last night, bro, this is a spineless, gutless performance and another exit out of Europe. But you won't find me surprised by it. I'm not surprised by it one bit. Now, am I disappointed in it? Am I disgusted in it? Of course. But am I surprised by it? Hell no. Because I could have looked at half of those names on the team sheet and told you they were spineless and gutless before the game. Because we've been seeing this act before. This ain't nothing new to Spurs fans. We saw this last year when we were in the Conference League, going out on technicalities. We saw it the year before when we were going out to managers that are serving life in prison. Genk, I remember once upon a time knocked us out Europa League. Bro, we've been having... Bayern Munich were dumping on us the year before that. Like, we've been having these European shambles, and it's the same shit. And we'll talk on Conte as well. I would love to push all the blame on him and say everything's him. But the problems are so much bigger than him, bro. And last night for me was just like a culmination of the complete and utter shit show that Spurs is. As Chiellini formerly said, bro, it's now become our history. It's a joke, but it's the actual truth, bro.
See, so I feel like I need to challenge some of the things that were said there, right? Mm-hmm. Because especially around Conte. But my view on it is, yep, Spurs do have a history of losing. Spurs do have a history of letting themselves down. But fundamentally, there is a glaring issue when it comes to how Spurs are approaching these games now. And what worries me, or what has been worrying me for months now, is that it's a far cry away from what you associated Spurs with in the back end of last season. Mm-hmm. When I look at these results, Wolves are the second joint lowest scorers in the Premier League. They're the second joint lowest scorers in the Premier League, and they beat you with no reply. Sheffield United are a championship side that made around 7 or 8 changes to their team, bro, and they beat you with no reply. AC Milan have lost 4 of their last 7 matches. They picked up form a little bit in recent weeks, but I'll have to go back on this again. I saw this team worked. by Fiorentina on the weekend. I was watching the game in the first half. Fiorentina were working this team. I went on my post-match, in fact, on my pre-match yesterday, and I listed the team. And I watch Italian football, not every single game, but I like to watch some of the bigger matches.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't name you more than probably five of those Fiorentina players. And bear in mind, Milenkovic wasn't even playing. And they went to town on AC Milan. The same defense that looked like they had one of the most comfortable games you could have, they got worked. This is the same AC Milan defense that got battered by Sassuolo at home. Obviously, minus Tomori because Tomori was injured. This is the same AC Milan defense that got taken to the cleaners by Inter Milan. This is the same AC Milan team that I saw get ragdolled by Chelsea months back. Look how many goals Chelsea have scored.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, yes, there is a scary DNA engraved in Spurs where exits in these competitions ultimately don't matter. And that's on the hierarchy. They set the tone, they set the expectation. What is the expectation? What are you as a club? What's your remit season in, season out? Unfortunately for us, we have a club where trophies and progress in cup competitions isn't enough to put your job at jeopardy, and it makes no sense to me. And I saw a tweet today that I really resonated with because I've been thinking the same thing, right? Because one of my friends was telling me on WhatsApp today that, oh, you're so entitled. Oh, Spurs are doing exactly how they should be doing. They're fourth. Oh, they don't win. All of this, you know, the old cliche nonsense. And I have to say, like, genuinely, what are you watching? I have to ask, what are you watching? We've conceded. We can barely go games without conceding goals. We are now unable to score goals with a plethora of attacking talents that would actually bang goals elsewhere and have bang goals elsewhere. We don't really control games. And then on top of that, we don't win consistently, right? And then when you add into the fact that this is probably one of the most favorable runs we could have had in the FA Cup. I can't remember the last time we've had a run so favorable.
Yeah.
We have avoided every single Premier League opposition. And had we beaten Sheffield United, we would have played another championship opposition at home, at our ground, with an opportunity to play at Wembley and be in the last four. AC Milan are not even the second best team in Italy at the moment. I don't even think they're the third best team in Italy at the moment. Let me even check where they are on the table. Let me even check where AC Milan are on the table.
I can't remember.
Because, oh yeah, another team, Lazio, who pumped them 4-0, right? So, AC Milan are fifth. Roma are above them. Lazio are above them. Inter are above them. AC Milan have conceded only, 4 goals less than Spurs?
Yeah.
4 goals. Spurs has played 26 league games. We conceded 36. AC Milan have played 25 and they've conceded 32. So we're talking about a side that when people talk about how poor our defense is, mate, their defense is just as poor this season. Yeah. And yet, that did not look like a side that were 1-0 down. You wouldn't have, you could have flipped that game on and didn't know the score, and you wouldn't have known that Spurs were chasing a game of football. You wouldn't have known that Spurs were chasing a game of football. And like, I'm not even trying to say that, oh my God, I'm not even trying to say that everything is on Conte's door, but these issues that I'm seeing now, they are on Conte's door because 100%. Fraser Forster did his job yesterday. And
I agree with that. I agree with that. What is on Conte's door is when in the second half, when you're 1-0 down against Wolves, when you're 1-0 down on aggregate against AC Milan, when you go behind versus Sheffield, why the fuck are you not switching it up in the second half? Why are you being so stubborn to still stick a back five on? Why is sometimes your first sub even a fucking centre back? Like, these are decisions where it's just like, all right, now you're just actually shooting yourself in the foot. It don't make sense. Milan, in my opinion, had they even been more clinical, could have been out of sight. Was it Tonali, I think, missed the sitter as well? Origi hit the post. Like, it could have easily been 3 or 4. But the problem is you're not giving Milan anything to defend. I can't remember any actual attacking threat. And that's a game at home. I saw start of the game, the crowd were looking like they were rocking. It seemed like there was a decent atmosphere. I don't know if he was at the game last night. But then by the time it was halftime, it was like, yo, what the fuck are we watching here? And it always seems to be the case. It's just a sour note at this point. But what can you do, bruv? For me, do you? So you're of the mindset, obviously, to get rid of Conte now. Then,
yes, bro. I've been saying this for
and
a
then
minute.
and then do what?
Yes.
Do what? Would you say? Just free fall till the end of the season?
Not even free fall to the end of the season, because top four still there to play for. Bring in a manager who will actually want to do the job required and get the best out of the players that he's been given. That's the one thing we praised Antonio Conte for last year. Remember last year? Wow, look at Conte. He's getting the maximum amount of these players. He's getting scrubs like Sessegnon to give us good performances. This season,
I don't want to fall into that trap of we've seen this under Jose. We've seen this even under Poch, where fans get frustrated and it's like we're calling for a manager to get sacked or something to get changed. And then all of a sudden when it does happen, it's kind of like maybe we always look back in hindsight like maybe we should have just seen it out to the end of the season. And the thing is my thing is has Conte become a bad manager overnight? And I'm not this isn't me agreeing with his second half decisions, but I'm saying if you ride it out till the end of the season, at least try and secure top four under him. This isn't to say his decisions are right in second half decisions or his tactical decisions that he's been making, but do you think that there's no recovering from the situation then?
Yes, I think it's untenable now, especially after his press conference yesterday. I think his position
is what I wanted you to get
to. I think his position is untenable. It is untenable. And the way Spurs are playing, we're not going to get top four. That is what's paramount. Because after the Aston Villa game, a blind man could see it. That this does not look like a side that are going to get top four. And of course, we get a couple wins against Crystal Palace, West Ham, Chelsea, sides who are struggling to score goals in the Prem, and renewed optimism. But when you actually deep the way we have been playing for months now, this isn't just a decision that I've just come to the conclusion of the other day. Like this is months of piss poor performances. On top of the fact that he doesn't want to stay in the club, on top of the fact that he's constantly talking down the club, on top of the fact that players are flagging under this manager. Like, forget about, even if you wanted to take away, bear in mind, I've not even mentioned the brand of football. I'm literally talking about getting us capable of winning games. But if I wanted to go in, how many times, Fuad, have we spoken about how badly Conte has mismanaged this squad this season? How many times?
I don't know, a couple of times.
How many times? And now the chickens have come home to roost.
Okay, let me ask you this year. If you're giving me a percentage, like you've got 50-50, it's the players or the managers. Last night's defeat, where are you lying this? Give me a percentage for both.
I'm putting it firmly on the manager and Romero. I'm putting it on the manager and Romero.
No. So I said you've got the players here, they're 50%. You've got the manager. So is it Conte 60-40?
There's no 50%. There's no 50%.
No. The starting point is 50%. I'm saying. Where are you going? 70-30? Conte?
I'm giving it like a 90 on Conte, bro. Genuinely. And my rationale for that is this. We did not register.
Very scot-free there.
No. Okay, cool. Let's call it, I don't know, like 80-20. But let me give you my rationale, and then you can give me yours. Yeah. My rationale for this is we didn't register a shot on target until the 63rd minute of the game.
Awful.
We had 2 attempts in the first half. At no point did you feel that AC Milan were under serious pressure. I watched the Chelsea game for 90 minutes the day before. Bear in mind, this is a Chelsea side without our level of attackers. A Chelsea side that have only scored 1 goal. Someone said Tyrese Gibson.
I got like that killed me.
Yeah. But this is the side that scored 1 goal the whole month of February.
Yeah.
How is it that they are able to actually pepper Dortmund? They peppered Dortmund in the first half. Dortmund had all the ball, but Chelsea were peppering Dortmund. There was no point in that game where I thought Chelsea aren't going to go through here, because the intent was there. They were on Dortmund from the jump.
Do you know what?
Spurs, I no longer feel that drive to win. I don't feel any sort of intensity when I'm watching us play. It is nothing, bro. It's just nothing. And the thing is, what's crazy is this: the Romero incident gives people gives people an out to say, oh wow, if Romero doesn't get sent off, who knows what could happen? And they're right. Who knows what could have happened? Spurs might have stumbled their way into the extra. We probably would have scored maybe one goal. We might have scored one goal and taken it to extra time. Who knows what could have happened? But I'm looking at the method. I'm now looking at the method over the results. Even when we beat West Ham 1-0 at home, shocking first half performance. Shocking first half performance. Again, even the Chelsea result, we were poor in the first half. So I'm looking at, I keep watching these games, expecting something to change, and nothing is changing. Nothing is changing.
My thing is listen, I get that. I hear what you're saying, but there still has to be some onus on the players for me. When you're talking about that energy, giving you that energy, and I'll give you an example, the Chelsea game. The first 10, 15, 20 minutes, we were both in the stadium. The players were up for it. The players were fighting. The players were actually hungry. The press was decent. I said, you know what? We actually look like we're treating this like a London derby. Now, you could say it was Chelsea maybe in second gear, not at their best, whatever. Cool. You got to take advantage of that. I'm sorry. I'm looking at that front three last night that we're saying we hang our hat on and that's the quality and we don't have no attacking threat. But I'm not even talking about Romero when I talk about the individuals. I'm talking about Harry Kane, Mr. who we say, oh man, he deserves medals and, you know, you should be moving to a big club. Where were you last night? Mr. Son Heung-min, half a career traveling across the world to come see you. Where were you last night? Kulusevski, since the injury, where were you last night? These are the players. No, Topes, and I'm keeping the same energy because we praise and love these man and praise them to the high hills. But I'm not now when we get dumped out in a game like that where we see no cojones, no guts. Oh, it's the manager again. You fucking cunt ain't getting away anymore, brother. That front line, 0 yesterday out of 10. All of them. 0 out of 10. Then you add on top of that headless chicken we got at the back now. Because I'm starting to question now. I tweeted out yesterday, there's a fine line between being a dog and then being a fucking bozo. We've been propping it up and saying, listen, this guy, when you put the right pieces around him, he's a very good centre-back. I agree with that. But this season, too many times in big games, almost every Big Six game, barring the Chelsea one, he has stunk it up. Arsenal, City, United, you name it. Romero has been a target for teams because they know he's going to be overzealous, aggressive, get pulled out of position, and he's cost us. Again, that's 4 players that we constantly praise and big up. So I'm not letting them, when we praise them and give them, but then when we get dumped out, it's the gaffer again. Hey, get him out. No, we're going to point at these fucking clowns and point them out as well, bro.
Bro, we can point all we want. And Kulusevski was, because we're talking about Conte now. When we get onto the squad, we'll talk about players because we'll talk about Romero, we'll talk about the lot, right? But my point on blame, we can talk about the individuals that played poorly. Kulusevski has been crap since he's come back from his injury, barring the Chelsea game, in my opinion. I think he's been poor. And he was poor yesterday. The deliveries was off, all the way off, right? Son was bad yesterday. But again, I'm looking at the method instead of the results. Yeah, Spurs had 180 minutes to beat this AC Milan side. Did you see the expected goals? Did you see the XG? Have you seen it?
No. What is it? Let me see it.
What is it? So, and this is why
0.05 and 0.16.
I'm gonna show it to you because
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna show it to you because you can't tell me that these, like, as much as you want to, you can criticize Kulusevski for his performance, criticize Son, yeah, but you cannot tell me that these attackers are that bad or these attackers are playing so crap that Spurs, bearing in mind, AC Milan, over the course of 90 minutes, had a starting attack of Leao, Giroud, Brahim Diaz versus Kane, Son, Kulusevski. And then, of course, they had Teo, etc., etc. Spurs had 0.98 XG to AC Milan's 3.33. Now, if I was to give you that XG and tell you that the team that had Kane, Son, Kulusevski, Richarlison, Danjuma, Pedro Porro were the ones that created 0.98 over 180 minutes, what would you tell me?
Say that again, sorry.
If I was to tell you that a team that has Kane, Son, Richarlison, Kulusevski, Danjuma created 0.98 over 180 minutes, what would you say?
I wouldn't rate it.
What would you put that down to?
I would take a look at both aspects. I would take a look at how they're
look at both aspects, but
I will take a look at what they're doing on the pitch as well. And within all of those games, when I looked at those three on the pitch in the last 3 games, they have not offered enough. And I'm sorry, I'm not saying Conte isn't to blame. Conte is stunting them. I agree, but there is shit you can do even when the manager's holding you back. I'm sorry. We try and act like Conte is holding a fucking PlayStation pad here and is saying, yo, you man, don't press. You man, hey, don't pass. You know what? Hey, son, over there, dribble and lose the ball. They're the ones fucking doing it, bruv. They're the ones on the pitch. So I'm not having, and I hear this. I hear fully Conte is holding them back. The tactics aren't great. I said he's being stubborn. We should be going 4-4-2 in the second half. We should be going 4-4-3-3. But these men are still on the pitch against weaker players, in my opinion. They should be getting at Thiaw, young centre-back, making his Champions League debut. Tomori. They should be getting at these men. Kalulu. You can get at these men. They had Tatarusanu starting in goal last game. How many shots did we take at him? But this is what I'm saying. Because Conte's playing the back 5, we're giving him the get-out clause again. We did this shit on Jose. We did this shit on the Nuno. We do this shit.
It's manager. It's not even
turn a blind eye to the players, and we put it all on the manager. And I'm saying, listen, we can look at both issues and say both are to blame. We don't have to sit here and say it's all on the manager.
No, listen. When I say it's, or when I'm saying I'm putting the majority on Conte, I'm not talking about the entire season. Yeah. Son has been shit this year, irrespective of what we've seen with Conte. Son has been shit this year. Richarlison, who I rate, he's been rubbish. He's been rubbish. He's been crap. Literally, the games he started, the cameos, he's been crap. He's been crap. But you made a statement about Harry Kane, using Harry Kane as an example, right? Using Harry Kane as an example. Why do you think Kane had a poor game yesterday? Because I don't think he had a poor game. Give me the rationale for him having a poor game, because in 90 minutes, I saw this guy have 1 chance created, and that was the header in the stoppage time in the second half. His link play when he came to drop deep, he was still linking, he was still passing, he was still receiving.
What you've just said it right there. Not every game are you needed to drop 40 fucking yards deep, my brother. And I understand.
So if he doesn't drop, who's going to create?
Don't have a midfield.
Who's going to create?
Creativity. I understand.
Who's going to create?
There you go. And I knew this was going to create.
Who's going to create? Tell me the question.
I knew this was going to be your get out clause. Let me finish.
Who's going to create?
Because you know what you do? As a number 9, you stay up front. That's how you stay dangerous, my brother. Some games you realize, you know what? We're not going to dominate possession, maybe. Let me just actually try and be a threat up front. That's my thing. Son, why don't you stretch the game? Get into dangerous position. Kulusevski, we was praising your decision-making. Lately, it hasn't been there. So that's what I'm telling you. I'm sorry. I've always been praising Kane for the drop deep and link play and creativity. But there has to be game management. There has to be games when you read it. And I'm sorry. We have seen 7-8 years of catalog now. Big games. We've questioned it all the time. This was another big game where I'm looking at Harry Kane. Please, Kane, grab it by the scruff of the neck. Because this is what, when I see young Mbappe, this is what I see him doing. Even in games where PSG are going down, I can grab the game by the scruff of the neck. Even when PSG's tactics are crumbling, I can grab the game by the scruff of the neck and try to make something happen. Harry Kane.
But isn't that what you... But Fuad, you say to try and make something happen.
I'll drop 40 yards deep. And because I dropped 40 yards deep and they saw me pop off a little 5-yard pass to the centre-backs, I'm doing my bit. Stay in the fucking box. Stretch the back free.
Fuad, so you say stay in the fucking box, yeah? Yesterday, when he was in the box, the delivery from Kulusevski was garbage. The delivery from Paratici was garbage. The only time when Spurs were actually able to start putting good balls into the box was when Pedro Porro came on. And even then, those balls were blocked. The point I'm making is I'm not even trying to say these guys played well. Son was crap. Son was absolutely rubbish. Yes, but do you want to know how many shots Son had in 90 minutes, Fuad?
I'm gonna take a guess, and it was probably one, and it was probably a blocked shot.
Voila.
Hey,
Voila.
hey!
Voila.
I watch games. I see
Voila.
fraudulence.
Yes, you can talk about Son being fraudulent, bro. Son has stunk. Make no mistake about that. Son has been shocking for Spurs this season. He's been garbage, absolute garbage, right? But listen to the bigger point I'm making. When we're talking about players and manager, the same way we can criticize the players, we have to look at Spurs' methods of approaching matches. It is not good enough. And when we talk about keeping the same energy, we kept the same energy with Nuno. We kept the same energy with Jose. So I can't see why we can't keep the same energy with Conte. When shit goes south like this, it can't just all be on the manager. It can't. It's the manager, it's the players, it's the Levy, etc., etc. It's the lot. But when we're talking about Conte's remit as a manager, are you doing your job as a manager? The absolute answer is no. He's not doing his job. Because if he was doing his job better, you would see a functioning attack. I don't care how bad these guys are playing. There is no way on earth you can be given the attacking options you have and Spurs can be so blunt. If Kulusevski weren't playing well, take him off. If Son weren't playing well, take him off earlier. Don't start him. Don't play him 90 minutes. Yeah. Why is it that when we want to attack sides, it doesn't actually look like we can put any sort of pressure on them? Why is that? Other teams, I remember, I saw a picture that sent to me the other day, and obviously, listen, the very best sides in Europe, yeah, Liverpool. The times when we go to Liverpool and it's Anfield, right, and we're trying to beat them. How many players do they have in our half? They are camped in our half. They don't want to let us get out because they are doing everything in their power to score. I don't get that feeling with Conte, and I'm sorry. As shit as Son has been, put this guy in a position where you don't expose his weaknesses. It's that simple. It's not going to fix everything, but bruv, it's something. It's not going to make Son trap a ball better. It's not going to make Son take on his man better. But at least put him in a position where he can do what he does best, which is laying off shots at goal. I don't understand it with Conte, man. I don't get it. That's why, yes, I'm going to criticize Kulusevski for playing shit. Yes, I'm going to criticize Son for playing shit. But ultimately, Conte has an attack that should be performing better than it has done. I don't get it.
For me,
bro, like honestly, I'm actually like losing my shit because I don't understand it.
You see,
genuinely, please explain it. I don't get it.
No. That's where you're connecting the dots in terms of if you're still seeing Kulusevski dropping a stinker, if you're still seeing Son a stinker, these men should not be playing 90 minutes. These men should not be seeing out games if their standards are not there. And the problem for me is where you're right in criticizing Conte, is then the changes for me are fucking Richarlison and Mora. But Danjuma gets 0 fucking minutes. Like, what did you bring this guy in January for? That's where I start to question and think, your stubbornness is actually costing you, bro. We saw this shit early in the season where you kept fucking sticking with Emerson. Spence got neglected. Now he's out on loan. He's doing fairly well. It's like, bro, what are you doing this stubborn act for? I don't get it. The same way it was, he didn't want to incorporate Basuma into the team. Then he got injured, and now it's kind of like he looks like kind of, is he really that type of signing? So all these kind of issues Conte has caused himself. I don't disagree with that one bit. But I'm not going to sit here and say that even in that Chelsea performance that you brought up earlier in the Champions League, they bopped Dortmund. You're right. But it's not like a thing where overnight they clicked. Because we were saying Poch's tactics and Chelsea's football was stinking over the last 2-3 weeks. But guess what? I saw in that game individuals rising. Prime namely, Kai Havertz, who people have been saying is a stinker. You hate him so much.
He was really good.
In that game, he said, really fuck it. I'm going to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. I'm going to make a difference. Ping me in, twist, turn, pop it off. That's what I'm saying. I can't be seeing younger man, guys who are not rated, guys who don't have mentality, doing this shit in the same game week. But then the man who we love and praise and to the high hills, we're like, hey, allow it, man. Conte's disabling him. So, if he drops a stinker, we really got to delve into the tactics. The tactics are wrong. I agree with that. But I still expect you, for the top level player that you are, to be able to make some kind of difference. That's my only thing.
I think that's just the case generally, right? And that's why players get criticism, because above all, you have a responsibility as a player to put in the best version of yourself, especially in a game of that magnitude. My issue is, on top of this, we actually have a manager who's setting out an approach that is actually debilitating our attack. I genuinely believe that now. I think it is. Yeah. Conte alone is not the reason why Son is stinking, but he plays a part in it. Conte alone is not the reason why Richarlison is stinking.
Yeah.
It is stinking, but it plays a part in it. Conte alone is not the reason why Kulusevski is tanking, but it plays a part in it. Conte alone is not the reason why Harry Kane sometimes his link play isn't the best, etc., etc. But he plays a part in it. Ultimately, when our best attackers are feeding off scraps most games, there's a problem there. That's my issue. I have no qualms with you criticizing players if they haven't risen to the occasion, but I'm also seeing a man who's not making it work no matter who he plays. And that's problematic, because I saw Antonio Conte in a team without Son, without Bentancur, without Kulusevski, without even Romero. I saw him go to Leicester, of all teams, and put 25 shots past Leicester. The intent was absolutely different. So I'm not asking him to do, and that's the thing with Conte, I'm not asking him to do anything that he hasn't done before. That's why I'm so critical. I'm not.
Is there a part of you that thinks maybe the players aren't executing these tactical plans? And I asked you that, because I look at it under Nuno and Poch and even Jose. We saw the same things where they might set up as like defensive in a certain game or whatever, but the players in some of those games, like Conte in the second half of last season, people were saying we were defensive or whatever, but we were popping up with goals, scoring left, right, and center. That for me is like when the players are in their purple patches and they're listening to the tactics being given and they're executing them right. Then comes the moment when they're not in that purple patch. They're unable to execute it right. And that's where you get guys like Kulusevski, who's not on form, unable to deliver those crosses to Kane, as you're saying. Perisic completely fell off a cliff the last 2 months. So those tactics that Conte is now, those same tactics, let's say, that he was implementing last year that were working so well, now isn't able to work because these fucking bozos, the purple patch has been found out for a lot of them. And then
I don't even think it's a purple patch
mentally in the big games.
I don't even think it's a purple patch thing, because I feel like
I mean the guys like Dyer, Davis, those.
I get what you mean, but I just feel like
players, they're just kind of freezing up at this big stage. It seems like,
But I just, I feel like
where the players almost the tactics or Conte is, it doesn't look it. I'm not saying it is. Or this is, but let's say there's a counter-attacking plan, but the players aren't the ones executing it. Is there a possibility of that?
That the players aren't executing what he wants?
Yeah.
I think so. But I don't
multiple managers now. That's the thing.
I think so, but I feel like some of these players aren't able to execute what he wants anymore. Like, I'll give you Son as an example. We know how shit Son has been this season. But even when Son was at his best last year, what's the one thing you have made a point of saying that everyone can see? Son is exclusively what now?
Goals,
final third player.
Yeah.
He's exclusively a goal scorer. Any other stuff that you want him to do, back to goal, link play, we know he's going to fumble because this isn't his MO. So if you're going to use him where he can actually influence the game to the best of his ability. It doesn't guarantee that Son is going to play well every game. But what it guarantees is that you'll get him doing things that he's more familiar with and things that he's more comfortable doing, which might result in a better version of Son. Now, we can't see that because every single time we see this guy play for Spurs, he's playing as some inverted fullback, basically. He's basically playing like Zinchenko for Spurs. And he can't do it. Only difference is he's playing with his back to goal. He doesn't even have the ball at his feet. He can't even see what's in front of him. He's having to receive the ball with his back to goal. And he can't do that. That's an example of what I mean by players not being able to execute what the manager wants, because what the manager wants doesn't make sense.
But that's when I'm asking you, where did it stop making sense? Because at some point, this shit was working last year. Then in the summer, not my words, but we supposedly recruited well. So it should have improved. So where did that translation of the players got the Conte's message last year to this year go wrong?
I don't know. I don't know what's clicked honestly, I don't know. Like, I feel like this season he's been way more defensive, way more defensive. I don't even feel like we have any. Like, I felt like last year, every opportunity we had to transition, we could do it at speed, right? And I felt like last season as well, I felt like Harry Kane was able to chip in with his goals, but we utilized Kane in such a way that he could facilitate the likes of Kulusevski and Son. I feel like this season the roles have flipped. I feel like Kane is the one that plays furthest up the pitch and he leads our press, but he's not good. He's not good. He's no longer a good presser. And the point you're making about Kane staying up the pitch, that's all good and well in theory. But in reality, even when Kane is dropping deep, we have issues in progressive play. So how is that going to look when he doesn't? Like, and the thing is with the Kulusevski one, like, to be honest, listen, I just think Kulu is just on a bad run of form. It happens. Oh, for fuck's sake! Sorry, my internet just went hitty there. I just think Kulu's on a bad run of form. It actually happens. It happens, but I also feel like in Kulu's case as well, I just feel like our attack has just become so like one-dimensional. Like, give the ball to Kulusevski, he whips a ball on the back stick. I felt like last year he had a good balance of all three. This year, it was like the creativity was so heavily reliant on Kulusevski. When Kulusevski's not in the team, how do Spurs build up? How do Spurs create? Now Kulusevski's in the team. What's changed?
Doesn't have that rhythm.
I don't know, man. I thought, and I just feel like with Antonio Conte, I've like the love is lost, man. Like, and it's one of them ones. The thing is, like, you know how much I rate Conte, but like I can't go against what I'm seeing. Like, I've just had to endure months of this and give all the excuses. Oh, when Kulusevski's back, it'll get better. When Kane is back on form, it'll get better. Romero's back, it'll get better. It'll get better. This, that, and the third. There's so many conditions now. Until now, I just have to call it what it is. Like, this is just what he wants to do, and it's not good enough.
Yeah. I think Alfie Curtis makes a good point as well. Actually, to be fair, in the comments, he just said and I hear that to a certain extent. I think that's possibly why it's kind of gone wrong, maybe under every manager, where this kind of not low block counter attack, if you like, it can work you and get you through a period. But after a while, or especially against smaller teams where you need to dominate possession, you have to be flexible. And that's where, in my opinion, I'm probably most disappointed in Conte, because I thought, listen, cool, you come in last year, you get us through with that kind of back five. I get it's your DNA, but I hope you have the kind of tactical flexibility where it's not just a 3-4-3. You can go 5-2, box up the midfield sometimes. You can maybe go 4-3-3 some games. That is where I would say I've been the most disappointed in Conte, is that lack of tactical flexibility. But that sustainability of that system is also what I question as well, and probably why we've not been able to maintain the same standards throughout the season.
Yeah, my friend in the comments, he's my mate Wes, he's mention what I said. But to be fair, he said this last year. Like, he wants Spurs to be more on the front foot and stuff, right? For me, that point on sustainability is paramount. Yeah, it was working last year, it isn't working this year. Now it's up to you to change and get a new method that works. And I think that's what's lacking. I think my mate Wes and that guy Alfie, they make a fair point. Maybe that's just not the way that you can play in 2023. But yeah, I don't think you can just base that on Spurs. Obviously, the best teams in Europe play the front-footed style. But listen, we saw Real Madrid. We saw Real Madrid not really boss games in the Champions League last year, and they won the damn thing. Did they not?
Quality though.
But that's the point. That's the point. But that's the point. Like, even PSG, as dominant as they're largely transition-based side. So the disappointment for me with Conte, even beyond the point on sustainable, unsustainable, like, I'm not even trying to dispute that. My disappointment is that when he can see that his preferred way of playing isn't working, why can't you change? Why can't you be less rigid? Why can't you rotate?
Yeah.
But anyway, let me just read some super chats. Big up De Niro University. He says, big up Richarlison for violating Conte. Conte out. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
Game King 50p. Mad to think that Spurs, I'm not going to say Spurs in the last 15 years had Modric, Bale, Kane, Kyle Walker, Dembele, Eriksen, and Kane, and won nothing.
You mentioned Kane twice, by the way.
Reading that is actually kind of depressing, man. That's mad. Hazard says, Conte be thinking, what else do I have to do to get sacked? Bruh, I'm going to read his press conference after this, man, because that shit was mental to me. Tobes calling for, mate, let's calma, yeah. Let's calling for Romero to get happy slapped, had me dying last night. Come on, you Spurs. Okay, yeah, so we've spoken about Conte, we've spoken about some of the players, right? Listen, credit to Milan, because I mean, they probably won't have
Milan, bro. Fuck Milan.
What's that?
I said fuck Milan, bro.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. They probably won't have an easier knockout tie than they did against Spurs. Very easy. The defense must be thinking, right, like, this is it. Yeah. But anyway, let me try and find Conte's press conference, man. This shit was mental. Absolutely mental. And then I'll read Richarlison's. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, let me get this. Yeah, he says, fucking hell, where is this? Yeah, he said, in terms of history, these two clubs are on totally different levels. Milan won the Serie A title last season, whereas we scraped through to top 4 by a miracle. If people think 13 to 14 months is enough to become competitive, they are completely wrong.
That's where I'm a bit like, shut the fuck up, bro.
Get rid of him.
Essentially, we shouldn't have even played yesterday then. If you're judging this game of fucking... if you're judging this game... Hey, yo, one second. If you're judging this game based on fucking history, what are we even here for? Like, if your mentality going into the game is, Milan, they have big history. We cannot beat them. What the fuck are you even turning up for? Like, there's no point. That is such a defeatist mentality, in my opinion. And I could hear where he was coming from. Like, in the summer, I remember he was saying the same thing, because he's not really changing his tune, I'll be honest with you. In the summer, when the window closed, he said it will take 2 to 3 windows for us to catch up to those top sides. But guess what, brother? You're in the Champions League right now. You're playing a weakened Milan side. You're playing a side that's not in great form. Don't give me those excuses. Please. Do not give me those excuses. And essentially, if you ever wanted more of a sign of Conte in jihadi mode or grumpy mode, if you like, there it is, bruv. For me, it almost seems like at this point, he's trying to get that compensation paid pretty much.
100. Did you not see what else he said? He said, I'm at contract at Tottenham. Then we will decide at the end of the season with the club. My contract expires in June. We will see. They might sack me even before the end of the season. Who knows? Right. Maybe they are disappointed. Bro, he's baiting Spurs. He's literally baiting Spurs. Sack me and give me my payout. And Daniel Levy don't want to pull the plug. And I don't understand why. That's fine.
I'll be back too.
That's fine. I'll keep going.
Yeah.
Because respectfully, as badly as players are playing, and some players have played bad, when you go 3 games without even scoring a single goal against Sheffield United, Wolves, and Milan, knowing that 2 out of those 3 games you needed to win, and one of those games you needed to score by a 2-goal margin, sorry, like, you are not getting away with it. I don't care how bad players are playing. You are not getting away with it. Sorry, he's got to go, man. He's got to go. He's actually begging. He's begging for it. You know that you're dying for it. He's begging for it.
I said in January, it's a case of if you weren't going to sign the new deal then, you were better off just getting rid of him in that period. So that way you can at least give a new manager 6 months to kind of see out the squad, maybe give him a signing or 2 in January. But now you're kind of, this is why I said, once you go past January, you enter this weird fucking grey phase where if you get dumped out of the tournaments, what do you do? Do you just stick with him to the end of the season where he could maybe still get you top 4? Or do you kind of just say, you know what, fuck it, we'll take our gamble in the market out there? But then now, if you go out there into the market, I ask you, who are the 3 names you're telling me you would like to see step in if Conte was to walk out of the door today?
It's tough. No, it's not. Like Poch is the obvious candidate.
I'm laughing because I knew it'd be tough.
No, it's tough because it's like I've had this conversation with my friends as well. Like, I would if we're going for a reset and the club need to find their culture again and identity and stuff, you want a manager that befits that. Pochettino befits that. But I feel like also as well, from what I'm reading, and I need to read more of him, I like what I'm seeing from De Zerbi. I really do. I like what I'm seeing from De Zerbi, but you're not going to get De Zerbi midway through the season. Yeah. And to be honest, I don't know about all these other hipster managers. I don't know much on Amorim. I don't know much on Gallardo. I don't know much about these guys. I don't want Thomas Tuchel. I don't care how good Thomas Tuchel is. I do not want another Chelsea manager at the club. For me, obviously, Poch is the one that's being linked. Poch is actually probably one of the most viable candidates, on top of the fact that he's a quality manager. He's managed the club before. He's a free agent now, right? He's still got an affinity with the club and the fans.
Is it not comfort, though? Is it not laziness almost?
It's safe. It's safe. Pochettino, it's not even, I don't think it's lazy. I think it's safe. It's not lazy.
Yeah, safe from both parties. When has safe ever worked for anyone?
But when you say safe for both parties, I don't know, because Pochettino took one of the most volatile jobs out there in PSG.
And it's
so I don't think that this is a guy who just wants to settle for the safe option.
For me, it says to me, it's like we talk about lack of ambition for Kane and all this. People talk about what screams more lack of ambition than I'm going to walk away from Tottenham because they're not backing me. Or I've been sacked by Tottenham because they're not backing me. I was talking about how things need to change at the club. 4 years have gone by and 3 managers have gone through the exact same thing you did, if not worse. And on top of that, nothing has changed at the club. If anything, we maybe have regressed. You're now going to walk back into that institution and tell me, I'm looking forward to this challenge. That screams to me safe, comfort, someone who has no ambition, in my opinion. That doesn't scream to me, oh, I'm excited to get Poch back. Nah, bro, I'll be real with you. And I think it's borderline lazy from us to walk back to Poch and say, Father, can you please fix us one more time? No, you fucked up sacking him 4 years ago. Now you're going to basically, he is co-signing this Enoch Levy nonsense by coming back. That's my thing. Everything you talked about then, you're basically undoing it. Because how many times when these managers are going through it now, do people pull up that famous clip from the All or Nothing where people say, Poch told us the foundations, if you don't build it, you can't build a palace. But guess what? It's still the same thing, and you're still willing to walk back into that. I can't rate that personally. I think that's too much of a comfort situation for both club and for both him. You have just won the title with PSG. Go and see if you can get yourself a better job than Tottenham, mate. Because you deserve that at least. You genuinely deserve that. And then I'm sorry. We need a manager who, yes, I hear what you lot are saying, in that mold of what Pochettino did the first time. Someone who can work within this awfully limited structure, someone who can develop young players, someone who can actually develop an attacking style of play, and someone who can develop actual homegrown talent. But I don't think Poch is that guy now. And bringing him back, I think it's rose-tinted glasses of us looking back and hoping he can restore the glory days.
I do, but the thing is, I all those points you mentioned, I do actually think Poch is that guy, because those are literally Poch's strongest points. That is, if you wanted to describe Pochettino,
let me ask you a question. Did you watch PSG's football with all the star-studded talent they had?
I did. It wasn't good.
I'm just asking that. Did you?
It wasn't good. It wasn't good. The football wasn't good. But I don't put that solely down to Poch, because I'm watching Galtier. I'm watching Galtier, a manager who won with Lille.
Wait. Because when it's Conte, And you know, Jose, yeah, I saw Jose struggle with it.
No.
Conte. But
No,
what is Poch?
Listen to what I'm saying.
It's players, you know.
Listen to what I'm saying.
You're moving goalposts, Toby.
I'm not moving the goalposts. I'm not moving the goalposts, right? You
So
know
what was
that
the excuse for
Pochettino.
that shit football he was
What I'm
playing
saying
at
to you
PSG?
is, what I'm saying to you is, you know that Pochettino isn't a transition-based manager, though. I'm not saying that he did a good job at PSG. I don't think he did a good job at PSG, right? I'm saying that all the issues aren't exclusively down to him. It's not. But when he got sacked, I wasn't saying, oh my God, he didn't deserve that. It was coming. That's the stakes at PSG. Those are the stakes. If you don't win the Champions League, you're out. Those are the stakes, right? But the point I'm saying where it's different is because at PSG, he actually had man that categorically would not press. The only way he could play is in transition. That's the only way to carry some of the players that he had to manage. You know full well Pochettino is not a transition-based manager. You know that.
Can Harry Kane press? Can Son
No,
Heung-min
Harry Kane can't press as well as he could. He can't. But
so come to a team where the forwards press as well.
He can't press. He can't press as well as he could before. But what I'm saying is, it's beyond the pressing. Spurs generally don't have an idea how to attack sides. Even with the football being a bit underwhelming with Pochettino, they could at least create enough chances to win games of football. It was squeaky bum time all the time. Like, they didn't really have control of games, but at the very least, they still carried a threat. What I'm saying to you now is Spurs look blunt with Conte. We look blunt.
For me, I don't think Pochettino is a solution, in all honesty. I think Pochettino is the rose-tinted, going back to your ex, baby, we can make it work one more time. Listen, my brother, as you said, De Zerbi's out there. I think Thomas Frank, and I'm talking options at the end of the season, maybe not mid-season. De Zerbi, Thomas Frank is worth a gamble, in my opinion. I think Marcelo Gallardo, the job he did at River Plate, the amount of talent he produced out there, all these Julian Alvarez and Enzo Fernandez, people are giving credit to, he brought them brothers through. He was winning South American titles and all sorts. I'm willing to take that gamble on a manager who I think can develop that. If you're talking about another Poch, there's another Poch right there for you. He plays attacking football as well. People will say that's a pick and they don't know enough about him. Go and do the research. The internet is free and there's a wealth of information out there.
But you know what I will say is this, as I said, but Poch, whether you like it or not, ticks a lot of boxes for this job. But the one thing outside of the obvious, which is the hierarchy messing up Pochettino, right? I feel like they could have that impact on any manager that comes in. But the one thing for me is just having something different. That's why, like, even though I'm not mad at Poch coming back, I would welcome something new. The only problem there is the managers that we want, the managers that, let's say, you want instead of Pochettino, you can't get them right now. That's the problem. You're not going to get these guys now. You have to wait until the end of the season, because then nobody's going to let their manager leave their club in flipping March, man. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Which, as I said, which makes Poch even more of a viable candidate because he's available now. It's a safe option, and it's a reliable option, because Poch. You have to remember that Poch is essentially given this club its best years in your lifetime as a Spurs fan. He is the best manager that we've had in your lifetime as a Spurs fan. The problem with Pochettino is he's already managed Spurs, and they didn't capitalize on his brilliance.
Here's the thing,
that's the problem with Pochettino. They didn't capitalize. They didn't capitalize on what he did the first time round. And what is gnawing away at me is, and this is just, I don't know if it's just me, but my personal thing is, I don't like when managers go back to their clubs. I don't like it. I always feel like it's spooky, because I always feel like it can never be as good as the first time round. And that's the only thing that's worrying me, especially in this environment as well.
Because that's what I was going to say to you. Let's say he comes back. Yeah. Hypothetical scenario. He comes back. He does well this back end of this last few months, just like Conte did last year. But then in the summer, we go through that whole ordeal again, where he's not really fully backed, not to the level where we need to be competing. And then we're back in this whole circus again. And this time, how long do you think it is before the fans start turning on Poch? How long do you think it will be before people will say, hey, if you combine the 2 years that Poch has been back now and the 5 years, Poch has been a total at Spurs of 8 years without challenging for any silverware. For me, it's just like, I don't know. It's just too lazy, in my opinion. Too lazy. Like, this might even sound crazy. And I think I said it on like the last episode as well. Brendan Rodgers is someone I'd consider. I know people are looking at the Leicester situation and how they're playing, but I'm looking at his total career in totality and what I've seen him do. I've seen him develop young.
No way.
I've seen a lot of Spurs fans say this to me. But guess what, Toby? Guess what, Toby?
No way.
This is the reality of our situation,
Impossible.
fella.
Impossible.
This is the reality of our situation. Man are talking about like they got the pick of the litter. You know your best option right now? Going back to your ex. That's the reality of the situation, my brother. Well, look,
I'm not a fan of going back to your ex, but Brendan Rodgers,
guys like that. That's how bad the situation is.
Nah, man, I'm not. I don't want Brendan Rodgers. I'm sorry.
You'd rather
the names you mentioned, like De Zerbi, Thomas Frank, like they're project managers, up and comers that you can.
Gallardo's the one for me.
I don't know much about Gallardo, so I'm gonna have to do my research. I don't know much about him. I know that he's.
I would have.
He's a Twitter spheres guy, innit? Like I know. Gallardo.
Where's YG? Where's YG in the comments?
River Plate. Can he even speak English?
Vamos!
Can he even speak English?
That's all I need to hear on a touchline, bro.
But, yeah, like. Listen, the managerial hot seat is an interesting one, man. But all I'm saying is this, right? Irrespective of your views,
I'm not saying Luis Enrique in the comments. They think Luis Enrique is gonna take this job.
I think he could. You know what it is with Enrique as well?
You lot are funny. You lot are funny if you think
why
Enrique
not?
is gonna be.
Why not?
Tell me why. Tell me why.
Conte will take this job. Money.
You sell me the job. You tell me why Enrique would take that job. Man's comfy coaching his national team. He just previously was managing Barca before that, winning trebles. And you think, yeah. I've just seen what happened to Conte and Jose and Poch. I'll come in and be the next one.
my thing with Enrique.
And another thing as well, yeah. People are saying fantastic football under Enrique. I know you lot are only watching Enrique Spain, boy. Oh, man. Y'all some casuals.
So what, you didn't think he played good football at Barca?
Hey. Go ask Barca fans. Go ask Barca fans. Go ask Barca fans.
Listen, I don't want to get into it with Enrique. To be honest, Enrique didn't really cross my mind. He's a good manager. I feel like if you know what it is with Enrique, like he's one of them managers that's like, like he's good. Like if Spurs were to go for him, like you could see the reason. But me personally, I feel like I don't know, something about him just doesn't give me that project vibe, if you get what I mean. Like essentially, Spurs need to try and recreate what we had with Pochettino. That's the plan. That's what we need to do. We need to basically figure out who we are as a club and find the manager that fits that and build around him. And then that needs to seep through the academy, the recruitment, the style of play, etc. And it's all about the twats above, right? The guys who are responsible for all sorts of evil at the club. It's about them doing what they haven't done in the last 3-4 years, which is actually picking a direction and sticking to it.
Facts. And the problem is if Enrique comes in, for me, I just feel like it would be more of the Conte Jose, like you need success now type of thing.
Yeah,
guys, and that's my issue is I know this board are not going to do it. Tuchel, same thing. I know this board are not going to do it. So in theory, these guys sound like great options, but I've regressed to the mentality of like, listen, guys, we're down bad, and I'm willing to interview De Zerbi, Frank, Gallardo, Rodgers. Those are my 4 for the summer.
I don't know why you're including Rodgers there. I'm sorry. There's no way on earth Rodgers should
be. That's how down bad we are, bro.
Nah, I'm sorry. Sorry, I like Brendan as well, but I'm sorry. Pochettino is clear of Brendan Rodgers. I'm sorry. He is clear. Absolutely clear. And Poch actually fits the criteria for what you want as well. So Poch is going to be in the candidacy, right? He's going to be there. His name is going to be there. Whether he gets picked is a different question.
Just a week ago, you know.
What's that?
Do you know that? Pochettino was in Chelsea offices just a week ago.
Bullshit, man.
All of you twerking for him. You know he was in Chelsea offices. You didn't know that. Where's that work at Chelsea that told me? But you lot, say no more. Say no more. Say no more.
Nah, honestly, bro, like I don't even fight.
You do your thing.
No. I'm specifically going against Rodgers. I'm not fighting. I'm getting pelters off my mates for saying I would rather see De Zerbi in the job. I would even take Thomas Frank. Like, these are good up and coming managers that are performing at a close enough level to Spurs without even a third of the resources. So these are the type they're performing at a level that Pochettino was performing at before he took the Spurs job. So that's why I can see these guys potentially working at Tottenham. But I'm just saying, with Brendan Rodgers, I've seen it in the Premier League. Listen, me, there's nothing he can show me that he's done that I would take over Pochettino.
Yeah, let me just call the Brendan stuff. Brendan is like a last desperate option. You know, it's like the settling for Nuno after we've interviewed 20 guys. That's what my Brendan Rodgers is. But Poch, come on, man. For me, the thing is I don't want to see him undo everything, because we look back at Poch fondly. Let's be honest. I don't want him to come in, be restricted by this board like I know they will, for him to undo everything he did the first time round, and then for us to just have this kind of like bitter remembrance of his second spell.
Brother, when I said this to my mates, they're like, oh, that's not a good enough reason. That's not good enough reason. There's just something in the back of my mind with Poch. You know what I'm talking about. When it's the second time round, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And obviously, you can get the examples of Zidane. You get the examples of Zidane and Ancelotti, but these are like creme de la creme.
Bro, that's different.
These are creme de la creme operating at big clubs where you have all this. And listen, Poch doesn't need Poch isn't the beauty about Poch is he's not one of these like checkbook managers. He doesn't need a star-studded squad to get you cooking. But also, my thing is, what let Pochettino down? Who's to say that they won't let him down again, only at a bigger scale now? Yes, Spurs are spending more money now, but who's to say when Poch needs that centre back to play the way he wants to play, you ain't gonna do another Longley?
That's my fear. And for me, it's not a lack. Like, people think I'm saying no to Poch because it's Pochettino and I don't think he's good enough to do the job. No, it's because nothing has changed from above him. And I don't trust those above him to allow him to succeed this second time round. So unless people in the comment section are telling me they want to bring Poch back because they trust the board to back him this time, essentially, is what they're saying. And I'm like, has there been like a Tottenham Hotspur trust PSA been sent out that I'm not included on or something? Because we still got the same board as far as I'm aware. So I don't see the second time round how it's going to be different to the first time round. That's my only thing is, so listen, man, the problems will continue to go on, you know what I'm saying? But hey, man,
it's going to be managerial bingo, man. I just hope it doesn't drag as long as it did last time, man. They need to
also, sorry, Tobes, I'm seeing in the comments as well, people are saying like, oh, the fans won't turn on Poch. The fans won't turn on Poch. I'm sorry. Can we stop this revisionism? Because
they will. They 100% will.
I'm sorry, but Tobes, you even remember the back end of before Spurs sacked him. There were sections of the fan base that were saying, hey, this shit's come to an end now. Pochettino might have to go. Am I wrong here?
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And I don't like, but saying I don't like revisionism on two things. I don't like revisionism when fans pretend that they stuck by Poch. Because it wasn't all the fans. There was still a core that I saw that was still backing Pochettino, but there were definitely a section. I don't want to say it's a large section, but there was definitely a section. No, genuinely, there was definitely a section that wanted Pochettino gone. They wanted Pochettino gone, and that's the one element of revisionism I don't like. And the second element of revisionism that I don't like is people pretending that the job Poch did was simply because of the players he inherited. There's two things I don't like. I just don't like it. I don't like when people lie about Pochettino.
No, I agree with that.
The good and the bad way. I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
One of the managers people were throwing around was Ruben Amorim as well. He's Sporting Lisbon's kind of just equalized 1-1 versus Arsenal. Marcus Edwards assists as well. Listen, if he does a job on the Gooners, interview him in the summer.
He's another one, right? Buzzword. I need to do my research.
I'll give you forewarning with him, though. He does play sometimes a 5 at the back, and he does play defensive football. So if you're looking for that pretty football shit, Amorim is not the solution. I'll say that.
Mm. But anyway, yeah, I just hope whatever they do, I just hope they make a sensible choice and they're just swift with it. I'm asking for a lot. And there was a comment I put in that's pissing me off as well. Yeah. And I hate that this is like a condition because I'm like, what the fuck is he still doing here? This doesn't want Poch. Why does he still have a say? Why is he still in a job?
The fuck? Oh, is he actually still hired? We did not even follow up on that. Like, because last I heard, he had like a suspended sentence or something like that in Italy. And then since then, we've not heard anything. I don't know if he's arrested right now. I don't know if he's still doing club duties. Personally, for me, I was never on the Paratici is cooking something shit. I've just seen this guy do hit and miss. At first, I kind of liked the scattergun approach because I saw us being linked with a lot of good names. But then when I saw the execution, this brother's all meat, no nut.
It doesn't make sense. It don't make sense to me. Yeah, I just don't understand. And who the fuck is Paratici to Pochettino? Where do you get off? Where do you get off? Genuinely, like if I was Levy there, I would pull rank because I'm like, why should he's a DOF, but he's a crooked DOF. He shouldn't even be in a job in the first place.
Yeah,
he shouldn't be in a job in the first place.
Yeah, it's baffling one. Get him out,
annoying.
bro.
And let's not forget as well, he's saying he didn't want Pochettino, but this is a man who wanted to. People are saying I'm riding Poch. This is a man who wanted to hire Nuno. This is hired Nuno. This is a man who wanted to hire Gattuso.
My man at PSG wanting to leave as well. Campos. Campos.
Oh, Luis Campos. I don't know.
I'll be real with you. I'd take both, you know. Gaultier and Campos in the summer. Because Gaultier, what he was doing at Lille, Nice before that as well, I was fucking with him. And then as everyone's saying now, you know, when you manage PSG, apparently it's not the manager's fault. So we can't really blame him for this PSG.
I said it's not all down to the manager. That's what I said. It's not all down to the manager.
But all of this ain't all down to Gaultier, innit? So would you be willing to take a stab at Gaultier in the summer?
He's a good manager from what I've read. From what I've read, he's a good manager. And the thing is, you could actually be like Lille had a project. Like they had some really good players, didn't they? They had some really good players. And they had Campos as well. So that could be a decent double act. That's actually a fair point, to be fair. That's a fair point. He's a shout. But again, the guys that we want,
and he's the reason why I say Gaultier as well is PSG is almost like the first big club. He's usually used to working to clubs our size and our budget, if that makes sense.
Listen, we have to explore all options, right? We have to explore all the options. I just think we're just in this annoying situation now where Conte is doing that bad a job that I think he needs to go now. And the problem with sacking him now is that it limits your options in terms of who you can bring in straight away. Yeah. So it's either Spurs hire someone permanently like a Pochettino, or they hire someone in the interim, like Man United did. They hire someone in the interim until the end of the season, and then they bring in a fresh face in the summer. It's one of the two options, but either way, they need to act fast. Can we agree on that?
Factos.
Okay, can we talk about Richarlison's interview, please? Because that was mad.
Oh Lord, man, Lordy,
that was mad. And there's been a lot of contrasting views on it, and I can sort of guess. I know what your view is going to be. I feel like I can guess what your view is going to be, but as you can imagine, I have a different view on things. So I'm going to let you go first. What was your view on the Richarlison interview? Do you want me to read it first?
Please, yeah. I was going to say, read it out first if you can.
Okay, 1 second. Where was that? Where was that translation? Richarlison interview. Okay. 1 second. Yeah, so he basically the full interview, right, is they asked him, I guess you are very frustrated, aren't you? He said, of course, we just got knocked out of the biggest competition of all. We can't be playing like that when we need a goal. I think he being Conte, I think he should have put the team forward. This is a player saying this, by the way, especially in the second half. There's not much else to say, really. Not time to keep searching for the guilty ones. Now we go back to training tomorrow and prepare for Nottingham Forest. So then they asked him, so do you feel like he should have brought you on earlier or maybe put you in the starting 11? Do you think you're lacking sequence as a starter in this team? So rhythm. That's what I also didn't understand. Now, I know you're going to be angry at this part because this isn't true. He says, I played 2 good games in the wins against West Ham and Chelsea, and suddenly I was dropped to the bench again. And against Wolves, I played only 5 minutes. I asked them why, and they didn't say anything. Yesterday, they sent me to the gym for some tests and told me, depending on the results, I was going to start today. Then they put me on the bench. There are things I don't understand, and then they didn't really explain to me why. Let's see what he will say tomorrow. Also, there's no fool here. I'm professional and I work hard as well every day and I want to play. There's been very little game time this season. And this season has been, sorry for the word, but this season has been shit because I don't have enough minutes. I know I have had injuries, but every time I play, I put my life on it. I had 2 good games, especially against Chelsea, where I played the full 90 minutes and we won. There's not much else to say. I think I should have played and there's no crying about it. And then they asked him, as you said, the season has been extremely frustrating so far. How will you keep the focus from now until the end of the season? He said, there are about 15 games left in the season. There's like 12 games left because we're out of the Champions League. I've got to try and score as many goals as possible. The club paid an expensive price for me so far, and I haven't lived up to it on the pitch. Of course, there were injuries and the lack of game time, but now it's about going home, recovering, training, and let's see if he will play me in the next game.
Bro, bench players talking like they're starters. Shut the fuck up forever and let your playing do the talking. And the reason why he's talking so much is because his playing ain't doing much talking. You are 17 games into your Premier League career, brother, and you have 0 goals and 0 assists to show for it. And you're talking about you should be starting. All season, you have been one of the very first substitutes brought on in almost every game, giving you 20 to 30 minutes to show your skills, show your attributes, show your worth. And then even games where you were given chances to start in the most recent weeks in your favored position on the left, through the middle in the 9, you still deliver nothing. And you're here talking about, I don't get enough minutes. Earn your fucking minutes, brother. Man are acting like, this is what I said to you. This guy, when he came to this club, you're not of this level. You think you was getting superstar treatment at Everton at a relegation club, so you thought that means you come here and get superstar treatment. I told you in the summer, this guy doesn't have a standout attribute to command a place ahead of any of those front 3. And I know what he's referencing. He's talking about, why does Son essentially get to be in such bad form and I don't play? I hear it, my brother. But guess what? When you have played, you've looked just like Son, except maybe with a fucking tan. I'm not trying to hear it, bro. The only man in this front line who can talk like that, Arno Danjuma. The only one. Mora, I don't want to hear this. Richard, I don't want to hear this. Please. Bench players talking like they're starters. Give it a rest. You're not that guy, pal. We paid 50 to 60 million for you. You have not even looked worth half of that. Half of that. I'll rest my case.
Okay. Fair play. Fair enough. I completely understand that side of it, because when a player is playing terribly the way he is, you don't really have a voice or a leg to stand on when it comes to demanding game time, right?
But at least let it be after a game where you've maybe scored, where you've maybe picked up a man of the match, maybe where you've contributed, maybe where you've hit a little purple patch. You can come and make these statements, but not after like you're almost taking away the loss of the fucking Champions League and making it about you. Nigga, we don't give a fuck about you like that. I will happily have Richarlison shipped off for 30 million in the summer. I will take a loss on Richarlison. That's how much I would happily have him out. Please, I've done my business. I sold my Rolly. I'm done.
Right. So you were in Pruhag for like 5 seconds and you jumped out of it. But listen, I can totally understand the frustration from you from a fan perspective when you see the fact that this guy has still only scored 2 goals in about like 20-something appearances this season.
27.
Nah, man. But I also see, as I said, I also see both sides to it. I do. I really do. Right. And fundamentally, we have been saying half of the shit he said in the interview is what we've been saying anyway. Half of the shit he said in the interview is what we as a fan base have been saying anyway. It's about time at least he put that shit on blast. And for me, that tells you that all is not right behind the scenes. He's saying that 1 minute they're telling him you're going to play the next game, and then he doesn't play and they don't give him a clue. You mentioned your point around how bench players talking like starters, etc., etc. Fundamentally, when players like Son, who have played just as bad as Richarlison, if not worse, with 3 times the minutes, are playing more than you and playing 90 minutes, you cost 60 million. Do you not think that he was given some pretenses to join the club? Do you not think that he was told, oh, you're coming here, you're not going to play week in, week out, but you're coming here to compete? That's probably the... Like, I thought Richarlison was more of a fighter. I didn't figure you to be a guy who's going to start spitting his dummy out and crying about game time. I thought you just roll your sleeves up, get on with it, and do what you can to earn the manager's trust. That's what I thought he was. So in that respect, I'm disappointed. But I'm looking at everything he said there about the management. So if he's doing that if that's Richarlison saying that, how must Danjuma feel? How must Basuma feel? How must Papi Matessar feel? How must Jet Spence feel? Right?
Hold on. Wait. Just go through those names again.
I said Danjuma, Papi Matessar,
Black,
Jet Spence.
Continue. Keep going.
Jet Spence.
Who else? Keep going. You might be onto something here, Toast. We might have just revealed.
Brian Hill. Oliver Skip.
Oh, hold on. No. We're back to normal. Brian Hill. It's all good, guys.
So many players. I feel like have been mismanaged this season. So many. And I think Richarlison is speaking as a player who's just frustrated. The guy wants to play. Like, I get that he's not playing well, but ultimately, you need minutes as a footballer. You need minutes. Genuinely, you actually need minutes.
Hey, now comment section's killing me.
See look what you done.
Minutes is Emerson.
Look what you done. Your nonsense agenda has got the chat going mad.
Hey, we might be able to get him out of it on these charges, you know.
Only black player getting minutes is Emerson. Fuad is evil.
I never connected the dots, you know.
But yeah, to me, that sounds like a player who's frustrated at the way he's been mismanaged by a manager and his own individual performance.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like to me. Listen, you are entitled to have your opinion on Richarlison.
So you partly think that this is him voicing, partly maybe on behalf of others as well on issues.
I don't even think he's passing on behalf of others. I'm saying he's doing it for him. But what I'm saying is this can be applied to others. If he's feeling this way, imagine how the others must be feeling.
Now, let me say this. I ain't heard no others come out. I could have easily heard Basuma come out and say, why's Conte talking about me tactically struggling? I'm fine. He could have easily came out and said that. Danjuma, since then, could have said, hey, man, last time I played, I scored a match winner. Why ain't I seen them pitch since? Get down and let your football do the talking. The problem is he has no football to showcase to do his talking for him. So he's giving it all this lip service. So for me, that's where I stand on, like, I can't be taking lip service from a guy who's not delivering me anything. Not even like a little something. Like anything. Kulusevski came in January last year and gave me something in that second half of that season. And I was like, oh, we got a special one. You remember, Tobes? This man's had 2/3 of a season now. Nothing. Nothing. What can I do?
Yeah, he's been shit, but I don't think he's been managed well enough. I don't think he's been given enough minutes.
Off the right wing, injured.
And I don't think Antonio Conte has coached the attack well enough. Simple. It's that simple. Genuinely. When he plays, he barely gets any chances at goal. And when he plays, he's playing for 20 minutes a pop. I was saying the other day, Wout Weghorst has been in this league since February, and he started as many games as Richarlison.
What does that say?
You don't think that's a problem? A player you signed for 60 million, you don't think that's a problem?
I said in the summer we shouldn't have signed him for 60 million because this was going to be the problem.
No. I'm not saying
that's the same thing I said.
I'm saying a player that any club signs for 60 million to supposedly come and compete. You don't think it's a problem when a man who was signed in February has started more Premier League matches than you? That's crazy to me.
Kind of apples and oranges, because United needed number 9 after Ronaldo left, but we didn't need Richarlison. You could say we needed him in the sense of we needed cover and depth, but if you're going to be cover and depth, come and be that. And when you do step in as the cover and depth, can we see something? No, we can't. We can't even expect.
Which attacker are you seeing anything from at the moment? I want to ask.
Kane's the only one. I agree. They all stink. But Richarlison, when you've had your chance, you've not taken it. So yeah, I can't sit here and say, oh, you know, Son is starting. I don't think these are starting. But guess what? I genuinely, if you take out Son and put in Richarlison, I don't think our attack gets any better. That's how I feel. I don't know about other Spurs fans, but when I see, if you could take an off-form Son right now and put in Richarlison, no difference in my eyes. You put Danjuma in, I'm moved.
You're moved? Okay, cool. Let's see.
Here's what I'll say, and I suggest this deal nicely. Richarlison, Brighton, 40 million to 30 million. In exchange, Mitoma.
I hate you so much. That's my guy, man. He's been a flop. I'll be real. He's been a flop so far. But honestly, I'm still going to beat and bang the drum. I don't think he's been given a fair shake at all. I don't care how bad he's played. He has not been given a fair shake at all. And I do think had circumstances been different this season, you would have seen a better Richarlison. But let's see. Let's see. He's going to have next season. Unfortunately for you, he ain't going anywhere. So let's see what he's got next season. Yeah, you sit there and laugh. He ain't going anywhere.
I will be there to hate no matter what.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Say less. People, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button as well. Subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Fuad's channel. This has been an hour and a half of in-depth Spurs chat. I feel like the last thing we need to cover,
and
it's going to be an ongoing topic, is drum roll. Romero. Have we spoken about Romero in detail?
We've lightly touched on him, but
I don't think we touched on him enough.
What you got to say? Go on. I know you got a lot to say because you was asking for him to get smothered.
To be fair, I think we did touch on him. We did touch on him. So let me not drag. All I want to say is this with Romero, right? I completely understand that he is a front-footed defender and his MO is about getting to the ball before the defender gets the ball, or as the defender gets the ball, he's there to take it away from the defender. I totally get that. And I see that sometimes, in fact, a lot of times when we play, we don't have any sort of coordinated press. You just have a bunch of players just standing there, just watching teams pop the ball around us. And I can understand that sometimes he's just thinking, you know what, fuck it. If no one's going to do it, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to get this ball.
Yeah.
Sometimes he needs to manage this flick in his head because he is an utter bozo. Romero has the bozo gene big time, and it's not even debatable anymore. He's a bozo. And he needs to discern, like, when to go out and get the ball, when to stay in his position. And another thing I don't get is when he's on a yellow card, in fact, there's 3 things. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, again, stop getting unnecessary yellow cards, please. I remember when we spoke about the Man City game, and I said, I didn't really see what choice he had with the Grealish challenge, the one that got him sent off. But at the same time, I questioned why he did what he did to Haaland in the first place, like in the first half. And I was told, yeah, like he's laying his marker down, etc. I'm like, but you can do that without, like, there was no danger. Haaland was in his own half, bro. He's like 60 yards away from goal, and you just wiped him out. And he does that shit all the time and puts himself in a yellow card and puts himself in a position where he has to manage the game carefully. And then when you'd think, manage the game carefully, you're still doing a madness. I remember against Arsenal, he got a yellow card early in the game, the home loss, right? And for the rest of the game, he's fouling. And I'm like, how many times are you going to foul how many times do you think you can foul before they'll send you off? Like when he is on yellow cards, right? Forget the fact that he gets stupid yellow cards in the first place or gives away stupid fouls. When he's on yellow cards, he doesn't use his logic to say, yo, I'm on a yellow card. Let me be a bit calmer. Let me not go in full-blooded into this challenge. Look at the challenge he made yesterday. He's caught Theo in mid-air. Forget about even getting sent off. He could have caused Theo serious damage yesterday. Mm-hmm. Like, you just need to be smarter. Bro, because we're not talking about a scrub. We're talking about a really good defender here. I'm not even putting this issue down to him because we've seen, one second, just to finish on this. We've seen top defenders, as long as I've been watching football, I've seen so many top defenders that make crazy mistakes. They do, 100%. I've seen it happen. But with Romero, the bozo gene has been the bozo gene has overpowered the good performances in certain games this season. It's too much. And in games like that, you're going to cost Spurs. You can't have that. That's not on. Because if you have the capacity to do that game on game, you are now a liability. And we cannot have one of our best players being a liability at the club. This is the shit that we slam Dyer for.
No, it is 100%. And the thing is, as you say, bozo gene there, it's, for me, I've said every time you have one of those front foot aggressive type defenders, they always have that tendency for bozo gene. You see it with Sanchez, you see it with Rudiger. But Rudiger is a prime example of where if you harness it right, you put the right pieces around him, you can maybe get some control and get some quality out of him. That's what I believe is the case with Romero. But
I agree.
Often this season, big size, he has to take accountability and responsibility, bro. Because too often against any of the top 6 sides we played this season, so many times in the big games this season, he's been the target. He's been the one teams have been picking off and saying he's going to be overzealous. He's going to be aggressive. You know he's going to dive in and get dragged out. I'm sure Theo Hernandez could see that tackle coming from a mile away. I'm sorry, you are about 40 to 50 yards away from your goal. Mental. There is no way you're telling me that tackle had to be made there. You're not telling me Romero's not quick enough all of a sudden to keep up with Theo along that touchline to maybe commit that tackle a little bit closer to the touchline when it's a little bit further up the pitch or whatever. There is no need to fly in like that. With 20 minutes still left as well, you literally leave your team in the lurch. So as much as I'm saying like Harry Kane and all them like have to take responsibility for that creativity, once he went off, it was game over. Milan were just coming 3s, 4s, and 5s at a time versus 2 or 3 at the back. And that's what you do. That overzealous, that lack of mentality, bruv. Let's be honest. Like, we look at him as like, oh, you're meant to be one of the best players and a leader. You're a World Cup winner. Show us that then. Don't fucking be the immature one where you're looking stupid. Because right now, I've got people looking at you like, what's the difference between him and Davinson Sanchez? And I don't have an answer for them. I don't, because these are the same bullshit that Davinson Sanchez does. No, bro. Davinson Sanchez does that same. Bro, I'm telling you, when Davinson Sanchez came from Ajax, he was rated as one of the top centre-backs in Europe. He could potentially be world-class, we were saying. Then we saw 2 years. Then we saw 3 years of utter bozoness. to the point where now we're like, hey man, we just got a bozo on our hands. Romero's been here now 2 years, bro. And me personally, I've said this whole season, I've not been too impressed with him. He has let me down massively.
Yeah, he's not had a good season.
It was
but come on, Davinson Sanchez. Come on.
No. Listen to me. I'm not saying he's as bad as Davinson Sanchez, but that's the way he's going if he carries on. He needs to pattern the fuck up, honestly. And I know we're saying we need to put better pieces around him, but as we said,
you mean trajectory?
Yeah, trajectory-wise, he needs to really rein it in. From now till the end of the season, I've got my eyes firmly fixed on this brother. I don't want to be seeing no head losses. I don't want to be seeing stupid decision-making for me. This is what I'm going to be monitoring for the rest of the season. He is on bozo watch big time. Big time. 100%. And this is someone who, if anybody knows me, they know how much I love Romero. They know he is one of my favorite defenders out there. But I have to, the same way I say when I love these man, I love these man. But it's just, I got to keep the same energy when you're doing up stripping us and costing us. I can't just turn a blind eye to it.
No, I hear it, man. I hear it. Maybe not understand. In fact, the Sanchez point, I get what you're saying. It's just.
I'm not saying he's there now.
Listen. That name, yeah. It's just because I feel like he's got way more to offer than Davinson Sanchez. Even when, but it's purely the bozo behavior, right? Selling yourself.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, you get it. So, I'm not saying that they're anywhere near each other. We know Romero's a different class and actually has footballing ability, but it's that. Turn it on.
I get you. I hear you. Okay.
But yeah, that's all I got to say on Romero anyway, man. What you doing, bro? You texting your fucking babes, man? End the stream, Dave.
Nah, I'm just going through a message. No. It's not even that. But I'm actually on Twitter trying to see what's left on our agenda. I think the only thing left to cover, one more thing left to cover is Harry Kane. Harry Kane's future.
Harry Kane who?
No, genuinely. Harry Kane's future.
Oh, I mean, it is what it is. Last time we see him in the Champions League in a Spurs shirt, in my opinion.
I think so too. I don't want it to be the case, but I think it is, man. I really do. I think because I watched Henry's video. Did you watch it? The CBS take analysis on Kane.
No.
Henry, Carragher, and Richards were talking about it, and then on BT Sport, Rio Ferdinand and Peter Crouch are talking about it as well. And the way Henry spoke, man. Listen, first of all, Henry's aura is actually bonkers, man. Like he's, like football general. Like he is actually a football general. Like he's the up, but you can't hate on Henry, right? But the way he was talking, he said that like he was basically saying a player of Harry Kane's caliber, right? The goals are a fantastic achievement, but a player of his caliber at the end of his career, it will be a waste if all he can talk about is his goals, right? And when he likened it to, when he basically compared it to himself, when he was like, he was just hungry, like he was hungry to succeed. That's why he basically said that, like when he left to join Barcelona, it wasn't a case of like glory hunting. It was a case of challenging himself to say, yo, like I can cut it here. That's what he actually said. He said back then they had Messi. He said they had Messi, Eto'o, Ronaldinho, and all the talk was that, oh, he's going to go to Barca. He's not really going to get into that attack. And he was basically said, I got something for you. And listen, credit to Thierry Henry. The first season was a bit so-and-so, but he was still their top scorer that year. The next season, he's part of one of the greatest club sides we've seen in our history. And Carragher is basically saying, Carragher was talking about the goals as well, saying like Harry Kane obviously wants the Premier League record, and there's nothing wrong with going down as a Spurs legend, but in the end of the day, he also wants to win silverware.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Why are you smiling? What's going on over there?
Do you know what it is? Ever since you said aura, I've been like...
Nah, Henry is, yeah, man.
You know the kids on Twitter, yeah, they always say, yeah, whenever someone mentions someone's aura, it's because they just want to fuck them. So all I can think of.
I don't.
Do you fancy Henri, bro?
I don't busy myself with some of these weird kids on socials, man. But yeah.
Hey, nah.
And then Rio Ferdinand.
Or a hype.
Rio Ferdinand and Peter Crouch are basically saying the same thing. Rio saying, yeah, he wants the record, but he's at a stage of his career where it's now. Everyone's basically saying it's now or never. You need to make a move this summer. This summer, you either need to decide you want to leave the club or you want to stay and be a club legend.
The thing is, I hear, and I think he probably will request to leave at some point, but will Daniel Levy let him go? I don't think so. I think Daniel Levy would rather tell him, no, next year will be your farewell year. We'll keep you and you can leave on a free at the end. In which case, it doesn't make sense.
I don't think he's taking that L. That financial L. No way. If Harry Kane wants to leave, there's no way on earth Daniel Levy is going to say, no, stay and let's miss out on 80 odd million, 80 to 100 million. No way. Listen, way.
If that's the price teams are willing to pay, then you're talking. But I don't think anybody will actually push those prices.
You don't think Man United will slap down 80 to 100 M's on Kane?
They're the only ones I can see. And then it will get interesting. Then it will get really interesting. But I don't think personally, I think he will demand the move. But I don't know if Levy will let him leave, especially not having maybe a replacement. And I'll be honest with you, I'm saying, me personally, I'm looking at 80 to 100 mil. Knowing Daniel Levy, he's probably still got this man marked at 125 mil or something. So,
okay. Well, I don't know, man. I feel like he's gone this summer, and I actually can see Man United making him an offer.
Yeah.
Shame, but
hey, man.
Such is life, man. Spurs are going to need to move on from the likes of Harry Kane and Son and stuff anyway, but it's just sad. It's just, it still hurts. Yeah. And see, I can't lie, seeing him, if he does go to United, seeing him in a United shirt will actually be a mad kick in the teeth. Because you know that, like, he can propel them to greater heights, and that's what's pissing me off. But anyway,
he go get his accolades, man. He go get his accolades.
Yes, I think unfortunately.
Hey, just a quick one before we wrap up. Who would you take as a replacement for Kane? Potential. You know who's starting to move me a little bit? Gonzalo Ramos at Benfica.
I knew you were going to say that.
He's moving me.
I knew you were going to say that. Right. He looks good.
I said two people basically. So the only two players who so far I've said could potentially Evan Ferguson, which is a surprise left field one, and then Gonzalo Ramos, who's the more ready-made. You better be ready to pay now option.
Evan Ferguson looks good. I like Ferguson, but it's too much burden on his shoulders to replace Harry Kane now. And I feel like if you're losing Harry Kane, it's two players. You need two players. But I like Ramos. If I was going to lose Harry Kane, I'd be going for Vlahovic. I'd be looking at Vlahovic or Ramos. I would.
I like Vlahovic.
I'd be looking at Osimhen as well. Don't give me that face.
I forget you're Nigerian, actually. I forget you're Nigerian.
Don't give me that face, please. I'd be going for Vlahovic, Ramos, or Osimhen.
I saw Tammy do this last year. I saw Lukaku do this the year before. You can't trick me, Niger boy. Niger boy, you will not trick me.
Tammy Abraham to
when I got Starboy Keisha just serving you up on a platter. Yeah, it's easy to eat when you got Keisha right there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Osimhen hype, bro, man.
We can't. The thing is, Osimhen won't come to Spurs. If he leaves Napoli, he'll have bigger offers, and he will cost a bomb. We're talking over 100 million. He will cost a bomb.
Easy, yeah.
So yeah, Vlahovic, Gonzalo Ramos. Yeah, I think there's sensible targets. You're not feeling Vlahovic now?
Vlahovic, I'm a big fan of Vlahovic, but I think this season at Juve, I've just been looking at him a little bit, and I'm like, But then it is Allegri there as well, so maybe, you know what I mean? I would love Vlahovic. I'm not gonna lie to you. That would actually be the perfect guy. When I saw him at Fiorentina, I'm not gonna lie to you, that guy moved me.
And even at Juventus as well, I like Vlahovic because I don't think maybe he's not like a Benzema or Kane with it, but he's secure technically. Like he can play if he's back to goal, give and go, nice little layoff, and he's a wicked finisher, man. He's a wicked finisher.
Yeah.
So a super chat has just come in. Super chat has just come in. Romy says, real quick thoughts on the Enrique links. I like his style, but can he implement in the Premier League? I just don't think he's a project manager. That's the perception I get with Enrique. I don't feel like he's someone that we can build with long term. I think you made a good point around how like Spurs have been going for these managers where like they come in and it's almost instantaneous success that we demand. Like you have to do this now. With Enrique, there comes certain expectations, and with some of these other managers, I feel like you almost want like an up and comer where there isn't a major expectation, because that's what has yielded the best result for Spurs in recent years. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I agree. I think with him, he's just going to be along the same two managers that we've had with Jose and Conte. Come and demand success now, and I don't think this Spurs board are ready for that type of manager, and they've shown it over the last couple of years. So bringing him in would be one of those. I think Spurs look at the name and they're like, yeah, he works, but will it work really and truly? Can you see the two pieces? It's a square peg in a round hole, in my opinion. So it doesn't make sense.
Fair. Well, listen, people, that is it for the THFC show today. This was a long one. Am I gonna have to do the flipping? What's it called?
Timestamps. If someone could do it in the comments, you'd be a legend.
Yeah, please just do the timestamps, please. I beg.
I really appreciate that.
I beg. But yeah, Fuad, thanks for hopping on, man. It's been a pleasure as per. I would say that it's been fun, but it's not been fun talking Spurs. It's been hilarious, busting joke, but it's not been fun talking Spurs.
Hey, well, someone's got to come here and talk it. Do you know what I mean? United fans are out front holding their 7-0s. We got to hold our Champions League eliminations, and you know us. We don't do no running, man. We don't do no running.
It's gonna be fun tonight. Oh,
hey, bruv, I can't lie to you. I'm gonna watch you from the back seat there, boy.
You notice? I'm so annoyed as well because Big Six Extra was on Tuesday, right? So we played on Wednesday. You're so lucky because imagine if Big Six Tuesday Big Six was normally on Wednesday, and if you wouldn't have the cookie.
Bro, I said, you know the worst thing was is I'm so annoyed because we had like an impromptu stoppage time filming today, and I thought I got away with it, and I was like, "Fuck, man, we still got to talk about it." I was like, so yeah, I had to hold a little something, you know what I'm
saying? It's fine, man. I'll take the heat, man. As I said, as I always say, no amount of heat, no amount of trolls, no amount of abuse or stick can equate to the pain that Spurs are putting you through as a fan.
These men don't understand it. They don't get it. Yeah. I swear to you, half of the jokes man crack on me about Spurs. I'm like, bro, this ain't hitting how you think it is, man. I'm telling you. If there's one thing every Spurs fan in here can relate, we all got strong character, man. Listen, you don't support this club without having some strong character or strong mentality, bro. Trust me.
Facts. Big facts. Well, people, we're going to call it quits now. As I said, make sure you smash the like button.
Hey, can we just quickly as well? I've been seeing this Rame guy send this chat like 100 times. Bro, I would love to see Ndombele back. Let me just say that. Bro, look, you see? Well, hey, what would you say? Ndombele back next year?
Nah, it's done.
One more run? No?
It's done.
Right,
it's done.
There you go. You got your answer.
It's done, man. I love the geezer, but it's done. It's done. It's done. People, yeah. Let's try and get it to 400 likes as well before the video ends. Make sure you subscribe to Fuad's channel. As I said, the link to his channel is in the title. Make sure you subscribe to my channel as well. What the hell did I just see there? Man thinks he's little Uzi Vert. What is going on here? You think you're little Uzi Vert or something?
Come on, man.
I'm actually gonna start calling you Billy.
I'm doing after stream.
I'm gonna start calling you Billy, you know. But anyway, people, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button. Take care, peace out, and yeah, see you soon. Peace.